the 2000s, 10s, and beyond brought a new breed of knockout. Faster, cleaner, more shocking. In the era of high-definition brutality and social media virality, these finishes didn't just echo through arenas, they broke the internet. From Sergio Martínez's one-punch revenge to Pacquiao getting frozen by Márquez, from Tank Davis's uppercut masterpiece to Junto Nakatani's walk-off in the final second, each of these moments proved one thing: precision still rules, power still thrills, and the art of the knockout is alive and more dangerous than ever. Welcome to the new school of destruction. (2010) Sergio Martínez KOs Paul Williams. Sergio Martínez and Paul Williams met again in a high-stakes rematch after their razor-close war in 2009. But this time, there would be no debate. In just the second round, Martínez, arguably boxing's slickest southpaw, timed a perfect counter left as Williams lunged in. The punch landed flush on the jaw, instantly shutting off Williams' lights mid-swing. He collapsed like a statue falling from grace, motionless, flat, done. It was surgical, brutal, and poetic, one of the most jaw-dropping one-punch knockouts in modern boxing history. 2011, Nonito Donaire TKOs Fernando Montiel. In a battle for bantamweight supremacy, Nonito Donaire faced off against the feared Mexican champion Fernando Montiel, a fighter riding an 11-year unbeaten streak. But Donaire, the Filipino Flash, had other plans. In round 2, he unleashed a blistering left hook that landed with such velocity, Montiel collapsed in a heap. Though he somehow stood up, his legs betrayed him, wobbling uncontrollably. The ref had no choice. Donaire had arrived, explosive, electrifying, and now a certified destroyer at the elite level. (2012) Juan Manuel Márquez KOs Manny Pacquiao. It was the fourth chapter of one of boxing's greatest rivalries, Pacquiao versus Márquez. Both men had tasted the canvas in earlier rounds. Then, with just 1 second left in round 6, Pacquiao lunged forward, and Márquez struck gold. A thunderous counter right-landed flush, and Pacquiao fell face-first, unconscious, before he hit the canvas. The crowd gasped. The world froze. No controversy, no judges, just cold, brutal finality. After years of close calls, Márquez had finally ended the debate with one of the most iconic punches in boxing history. (2013) Adonis Stevenson TKOs Chad Dawson. In just 76 seconds, Adonis Stevenson exploded onto the world stage. Facing lineal light heavyweight king Chad Dawson, Stevenson came in as a heavy underdog, but carried a left hand loaded like a shotgun. Early in round 1, he unleashed it. Boom! A crushing left cross that detonated on Dawson's chin and left him sprawled on the canvas. Dawson tried to beat the count, but his legs wouldn't cooperate. The fight was over. Stevenson didn't just win the WBC title. He announced himself as boxing's newest knockout artist with one of the most sudden upsets of the decade. 2014, Carl Froch KOs George Groves. It was the biggest boxing event in British history. 80,000 fans packed Wembley Stadium to witness Carl Froch and George Groves settle the score. Their first fight ended in controversy. This time, Froch made sure there'd be no doubt. In round 8, he unleashed a titanic right hand that crushed Groves on the spot. He fell limp, unconscious before hitting the mat. The roar from the crowd was deafening. Froch had silenced his rival and delivered the most iconic knockout in UK boxing history. It wasn't just redemption, it was a legacy punch. 2015, Canelo Álvarez KOs James Kirkland. In a wild firefight at Minute Maid Park, Canelo Álvarez took on the relentless James Kirkland in a clash guaranteed to end violently. Kirkland came out swinging, but Canelo remained calm, surgical. In round 3, after trading bombs, Canelo landed a chilling right hand that dropped Kirkland like a sandbag. Lights out, no count needed. Kirkland lay motionless under the ropes as the crowd erupted. It was one of Canelo's most vicious finishes, a perfect blend of timing, power, and poise that showed the world. A star was entering his prime. (2016) Canelo Álvarez KOs Amir Khan. This was the ultimate high-risk, high-reward matchup, Amir Khan moving up 2 weight classes to challenge the bigger, stronger Canelo Álvarez for the WBC middleweight title. For 5 rounds, Khan's speed and movement gave Canelo problems, and he appeared to be outboxing the Mexican star. But in round 6, everything changed. As Khan launched a jab, Canelo timed a thunderous right hand that landed flush on the chin. Khan was out cold before he hit the canvas, collapsed backwards, eyes wide open. It was a chilling reminder of Canelo's power and a brutal end to Khan's brave gamble. 2017, David Lemieux KOs Curtis Stevens. This middleweight showdown had violence written all over it. 2 heavy-handed brawlers with zero interest in defense. After 2 rounds of tension, David Lemieux detonated a left hook in the 3rd that instantly turned out Curtis Stevens' lights. Stevens' head snapped back, and he crashed to the canvas unconscious. Medical personnel rushed in as the crowd fell silent. Lemieux's celebration was cut short out of concern, but the statement was made. This was one of the most terrifying concussive knockouts of the decade. No build-up, no warning, just one punch, and it was over. 2018, Naoya Inoue KOs Juan Carlos Payano. Naoya Inoue entered the World Boxing Super Series as a rising star, but he wasted no time becoming a global sensation. Facing the seasoned former champion Juan Carlos Payano, Inoue needed just 70 seconds to make his mark. A lightning-quick left hook, set up by a feint, landed perfectly and sent Payano crashing flat on his back. The referee didn't bother counting. It was surgical, explosive, and efficient, a true display of the monster's terrifying blend of speed and power. 1 round, 1 punch, and a statement heard around the boxing world. 2019, Deontay Wilder KOs Luis Ortiz. In their high-stakes rematch, Luis Ortiz was controlling the pace and boxing beautifully through 6 rounds. But then came round 7, and with it, the reminder of why Deontay Wilder is the most dangerous puncher in heavyweight history. With almost no setup, Wilder unleashed a straight right that crashed through Ortiz's guard and shut off his lights instantly. Ortiz crumpled to the canvas in a heap, unable to beat the count. Wilder barely celebrated. He knew what that right hand could do. Behind on the cards? It didn't matter. 1 punch, lights out. The bronze bomber had struck again. 2020, Gervonta Davis KOs Leo Santa Cruz. In a battle between 2 world champions, Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz brought firepower and heart into the ring. The fight was a war, both men throwing and landing, refusing to back down. But in round 6, Santa Cruz got too comfortable in the pocket. Davis slipped a right hand and uncorked a devastating left uppercut that landed flush. Santa Cruz collapsed under the ropes, motionless, as the arena held its breath. It was one of the most perfectly timed uppercuts in modern boxing, a savage reminder of Davis's elite power and precision under pressure. 2021, Gabriel Rosado KOs Bektemir Melikuziev. This was supposed to be a tune-up for rising prospect Bektemir "Bek the Bully" Melikuziev, a 2016 Olympic silver medalist with a vicious body attack. But Gabriel Rosado, the battle-tested veteran with scar tissue and a granite chin, had other plans. After enduring a vicious knockdown in round 1, Rosado patiently waited for his moment. In round 3, as Melikuziev lunged in, Rosado timed a looping right hand that detonated on the jaw and sent the undefeated Uzbek crashing to the mat. A one-punch stunner. The underdog had turned back the clock and delivered the most shocking knockout of the year. 2022, Leigh Wood TKOs Michael Conlan. The WBA featherweight title was on the line, but by round 11 it looked like Michael Conlan had it in the bag. He'd dropped Leigh Wood in the opening round and was comfortably ahead on the cards. But Wood never stopped coming. Then in round 12, with the clock ticking down, Wood landed a crushing right hand that sent Conlan through the ropes and out of the ring entirely. The scene was chaos, medics rushing in, fans stunned. It was more than a knockout. It was one of the greatest comebacks in modern boxing history. Wood snatched victory from the jaws of defeat in the final moments of a thriller. (2023) Junto Nakatani KOs Andrew Moloney. For 11 rounds, Junto Nakatani put on a masterclass, boxing beautifully, mixing angles, and controlling range. But in round 12, he decided to close the show in spectacular fashion. As Andrew Moloney dipped low, Nakatani launched a devastating left uppercut that landed clean and violently. Moloney was lifted off his feet and collapsed awkwardly, completely unconscious. The ref waved it off instantly. It was a walk-off, highlight reel finish in the final seconds of a dominant performance, one that showcased Nakatani's rare mix of precision, timing, and raw power. Japan's next superstar had arrived in devastating style. 2024, Daniel Dubois KOs Anthony Joshua. It was billed as a comeback fight for Anthony Joshua, but no one expected what came next. Daniel Dubois, once seen as damaged goods after his loss to Joe Joyce, stepped into the ring as a heavy underdog. But he came prepared, confident, and lethal. In round 5, after testing Joshua's guard with jabs and body shots, Dubois exploded with a massive right hand over the top. It landed flush. Joshua's legs buckled. He crashed to the canvas, dazed, unable to beat the count. The arena fell silent. It was a changing of the guard. A knockout so shocking it may have ended an era in British heavyweight boxing. These knockouts didn't just end fights. They ended doubts, rivalries, and careers. In an era where every fighter is a brand and every moment goes global in seconds, the knockout remains boxing's purest, most timeless truth. It doesn't matter if it comes in the first round or the 12th. When it lands, the world stops. And with rising stars, comeback kings, and generational talents delivering highlight after highlight, one thing's certain. Boxing's next great knockout could be just one punch away. So stay tuned, because this story is far from over.